27 December 2019. In our lead stories nationally, no major crimes recorded in Juvert Jam season in St. Kitts as over 10,000 persons reveled. And a recent implementation of port entrance fee was a very good idea, says operations manager at Charlestown Pier. Regionally, 4 murders push 2019 murder toll for Trinidad and Tobago to 522. Internationally, Beck airplane comes down at Almaty Airport, Kazakhstan. And in sports, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce plans Tokyo Olympics 100-meter and 200-meter sprint double. We'll have the details to these and other stories after this short break.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back, and now for the national news.
I want to take the opportunity to thank our persons who partake in the Juve, persons who are looking for conducting yourself in an orderly fashion. And we look forward to this throughout the remainder of the carnival season. I want to take the opportunity to wish everyone a safe and a peaceful carnival, and let's have a brighter 2020.
Assistant Commissioner of Police with responsibility for operations, Mr. Adolph Adams. The Juve Morning Jam session was held on Thursday, December 26th, Boxing Day, and saw thousands of revelers participating in the event. The event also forms part of the activities for the 2019 Carnival season, also known as Sugar Mass. In an interview with the VON Newsline, ACP Adams registered his appreciation regarding the Juve being free of any major crimes.
Juve Morning 2019, in my humble estimation, was a resounding success. Successful in the fact that we saw over 10,000 persons in Bastille reveling, and apart from a few minor skirmishes, we had no major crime to report. That in itself is indeed a success. Band members, I think you did a fairly okay job in controlling your revelers, and this is the type of behavior we are expecting throughout the entire carnival and for events like these to come.
Assistant Commissioner of Police with responsibility for operations, Mr. Adolph Adams. Meantime, Prime Minister Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris was among thousands of revelers who were in the streets of downtown Basse-Terre, St. Kitts on Thursday, December 26th for the 2019 Juve Jam session. The new jam routes covered most of downtown Basse-Terre, which saw the troops crisscrossing the streets to the pulsating music of 4 of the country's top bands, New Vibes Band International, Small Axe Band, Collision Band, and Grandmasters Band, and a host of DJs. Prime Minister Harris, who joined the revelers at the corner of Church and Central Streets, was quoted as saying, "I feel very satisfied by the high sense of peace and the atmosphere of a country that is striving and will continue to do well." By most reports reaching the VON Newsline, the Juve activity was described as one of the best, where people were having much fun in peace. Vehicle owners who now drive into the Charlestown Port Pier here on Nevis to carry out drop-offs or pickups are now required to pay the Nevis Air and Seaports Authority, or NASPA, port entrance fee of $2. Also, with respect to businesses, a monthly charge of $50 EC has been put in place, effective Monday, December 16, 2019. The new measure was instituted to enhance security and to better manage the facility. NASPA's operations manager at the Charlestown Pier, Mr. Ken Pemberton, spoke with the VON Newsline and gave us a comment about the recent measure.
Since we have implemented this idea, we have seen a reduction in traffic on the pier because that's exactly what we really wanted. Too many persons were coming along and just to pick up an envelope or something very light where they are something that they could have easily walked on the pier and collect from the boat, but they chose to drive. That has been reduced and reduced the activity on the pier because at times the pier really gets very congested, especially when we have the Sea Hustler Inn and other boats with the present cruise ships, tourists activities that are taking place right now. Lots of persons traveling between islands. So it has been a very good help at this time, very good idea implemented to reduce the heavy traffic on the pier, especially vehicular traffic.
Operations Manager at the Charlestown Pier, Mr. Ken Pemberton. In more national news,
My Team Unity Administration is committed to implementing policies designed to give young people and families opportunities to take flight and rise above their circumstances.
Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris. The Prime Minister was at the time delivering his Christmas message to the nation. To show how committed his Team Unity-led administration is, Prime Minister Harris mentioned examples to reinforce his point.
We have done this in housing and with our small business development initiatives, like our successful Fresh Start program and our Small Business Development Center managed by the Ministry of Industry and Commerce. It is not by chance that data provided by the Ministry of Finance indicate that over 600 applications were approved for business licenses as at the end of October 2019. My administration's poverty alleviation program is strengthening the financial position of over 4,000 households.
Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris. The St. Kitts Nevis National Carnival Committee held two competitions last evening, Thursday, 26 December, at Warner Park Stadium. The two competitions were the National Carnival Swimsuit Pageant and the Mr. GQ competition. At the end of the evening, Miss Avis Glasgow emerged National Carnival Swimwear Queen, amassing a total of 1,033 points. First runner-up went to Tikwani Dowell, who amassed a total of 1,031, with second runner-up position going to Onique Phipps, with 974.5 points. The National Carnival Mr. GQ went to Mr. Sinclair Rollins, winning with a total of 1,026.5 points. Brandon Cox copped the first runner-up position with 997 points, while second runner-up was Brian Pedrero, who amassed a total of 973 points. And finally, in our national news segment, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, or SKNLP, officially opened its campaign office last Friday, December 20th, in St. Kitts. The office is located at the corner of Keon and Church Street in Basse-Terre. An opening ceremony to mark the occasion was also held. The VOA Newsline spoke with chairman of the SKNLP and candidate for constituency number 8, Dr. Terence Drew, who gave us a comment in relation to the office.
At that brief opening, we laid out the importance and the significance of our headquarters. It's an area where we'll coordinate our campaign. As we know, we are entering into the active campaign season. It's a place where people can come to gain information, gather information, to learn and understand exactly where the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party intends to take our country, St. Kitts and Nevis, into the 21st century. And so I want the general public to know that this office is all about them. Our St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, Next Gen, SKN, is located there to serve their interests. And so all are welcome to visit, to glean information, to speak with us, and so forth as we go forward into 2020 when the next general elections will be called.
Chairman of the SKNLP, Dr. Terence Drew. General elections here in St. Kitts and Nevis are constitutionally due by early 2020. That is the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vaughanradio.com or check us out at Facebook at Vaughan Radio or our Vaughan Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
It's Christmas, and the Bank of Nevis Limited has special gifts just for you. Thinking about traveling to reconnect with family and friends, maybe purchasing gifts for your loved ones, or showing that special person in your life you care? Well, let's do it! Get an easy access loan up to $20,000 unsecured this season. Of course, that's not all. Our credit cards are easy to use and can be used anywhere in the world. So come and visit our Christmas tree this season for your mortgage, land, vehicle, and credit card presents. It's Christmas at the Bank of Nevis Limited, and we are improving the quality of life.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
Welcome back, and now for the regional news. News from Trinidad: at least 4 people were murdered and the body of an unidentified man found as the country marked a bloody Christmas Day, Wednesday, December 25th. The 4 killings pushed the country's murder count to 522, the second highest ever recorded after the 550 murder count in 2008. It also surpassed last year's murder count of 516. The cold-blooded criminals shot and killed P.C. Nicholas Victor at a Central supermarket on Christmas Eve. Investigators said Victor, who was attacked at the Traffic and Highway Patrol branch, was off-duty and doing private security duties at Rainbow Supermarket in Kelly Village at the time of the incident. According to Guardian.co.tt, officers from the Special Operations Response Team, or SORT, were on the scene minutes after the shooting, and a manhunt being issued for the 2 suspects. In a strongly worded release, Police Commissioner Gary Griffith condemned the killing of the police officer. The second killing also happened on Christmas Eve in Rio Claro, when Paul Henry, 68, fell to his death following an argument with a 17-year-old male relative at his home. The third killing happened shortly after 1 a.m. on Christmas morning in Phase 7, La Horqueta, Arima. Just before 11 a.m. on Christmas Day, a man identified as Michael Hernandez was shot and killed in Diego Martin. Hernandez was taken to the St. James Medical Facility, where he was pronounced dead. Another earthquake has shaken the region less than 24 hours after one jolted several Caribbean islands. The latest quake took place on a Thursday night, December 26th at 9:37. According to the Trinidad-based Seismic Research Center, the 4.2 tremor shook the islands of Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, and Guadeloupe. The epicenter was located at latitude 16.83 north, longitude 61.09 west, and a depth of 10 kilometers or 81 kilometers northeast of Pointe-au-Piet, Guadeloupe, 90 kilometers southeast of St. John's, Antigua and Barbuda, and 173 kilometers northeast of Roseau, Dominica. The St. Lucia NewsOnline.com says this follows on the heel of a 4.2 magnitude earthquake which took place early Thursday morning at 3:54. The epicenter of that quake was located near Dominica and was felt in Martinique and St. Lucia. There are no reports of damage for the quakes. Since Christmas Eve, a total of 4 earthquakes were recorded in the Eastern Caribbean. Out of Dominica, the country's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has announced that 5,000 resilient homes will be built before the end of the Dominica Labour Party, or DLP's, 5 years in office. At the DLP Victory Rally at Windsor Park Port Sports Stadium on Saturday night, Mr. Skerrit assured the general public that he will continue to work extremely hard on their behalf and voiced his commitment to build and achieve a dynamic Dominica. According to DominicaNewsOnline.com, the Prime Minister encouraged his cabinet colleagues to stand and walk in humility for the people who, he said, have entrusted their future in their hands. Mr. Skerrit thanked his audience for putting Dominica first and ensuring that the DLP secures the future of Dominica, their children, and succeeding generations. He also advised the Dominicans to stand united as a people to achieve the objectives and goals that they have set for themselves. Mr. Skerritt went on to invite what he described as the leaderless United Workers' Party, or UWP, to join the DLP to form a one national party to work together for the greater good of Dominica. And finally, in our regional news segment, the Bahamas National Airline has taken its first international commercial flight for the first time since Hurricane Dorian struck Grand Bahama and Abaco more than 3 months ago. Bahamas Air Flight 141 left Freeport, Grand Bahama for Fort Lauderdale last Monday with 35 passengers, including Minister of Disaster Preparedness, Management and Reconstruction, Iram Lewis, Deputy Chairman of Bahamas Air, Rudy Meadows, officials from the Ministry of Tourism, and representatives from other government agencies. It departed shortly after 9 a.m. and returned just after 1 p.m. Daily international flights from Freeport resumed on Monday, December 23rd. Minister Lewis said the flight encompassed two of the important factors of his ministry, which was established in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian's devastating hit on September 1st to the 3rd, is focused on infrastructure and the economy. Even though strides are being made in the recovery effort, Grand Bahama and Abaco are open for business. Help is still very much needed, Caribbean 360 says. That is the regional news segment. International news is up next. Welcome back, and now for the international news. A passenger jet has crashed in Kazakhstan, killing at least 12 people but leaving dozens of survivors. The Bek airplane was flying from Almaty, Kazakhstan's largest city, to capital Sur-Sultan when it smashed into a building just after takeoff. The Fokker aircraft had 100 passengers and crew on board. Survivors described walking from the wreckage into the dark and snow. About 60 are being treated at the hospital. The cause of the crash is unclear. There has been conflicting information about the death toll. The Interior Ministry initially said 15 people had been killed, but later published a list of victims that mentioned only 12 dead, including the captain. One survivor explained to the BBC what transpired.
Then immediately it started going downwards and smashed against the ground and the building. It was like a aluminum can, like a Coke. It was like smashed. I don't know, it was ugly. It was dark at the same time. We were lighting cell phone lights, trying to take out people because there was a high risk of fire because it was just taking out plane. So I think it was full of fuel.
The Islamic State group released a video on Thursday, December 26th, claiming to show the killing of 11 Christians in Nigeria. The Islamic State group said it was part of its recently declared campaign to avenge the October deaths of its leader and spokesman in Syria. No details were given about the victims, who were all male, but IS says they were captured in the past weeks in Nigeria's northeastern Borno state. The BBC's Mary Harper reports.
The video shows 11 blindfolded male captives wearing orange and kneeling on the ground. One is shot, the others beheaded. The video said the men had been captured in recent weeks in northeastern Borno state. This is where Nigeria's branch of Islamic State, known as ISWAP, is most active. The group has stepped up attacks on Christians, security personnel and aid workers in recent months, often dragging them out of cars at roadblocks. ISWAP was formed in 2016 as a breakaway faction of the Nigerian Islamist group Boko Haram.
At least 16 inmates have been killed in a fight between rival gangs at a Honduran prison, less than 2 days after deadly violence at another jail. Officials said guns, knives, and machetes were used in the fight on Sunday at El Porvenir prison, east of the capital of Tegucigalpa. On Friday, 18 inmates were killed and 16 hurt in the northern city of Tela. There has been a wave of prison violence in Honduras, where prisons are notoriously overcrowded. The government declared a state of emergency in the prison system last Wednesday, transferring control to security forces. President Orlando Hernandez made the decision after 5 members of MS-13 gang members were killed while in detention. It was not immediately clear what had triggered the outbreak of violence in El Porvenir prison, but government security official Luis Suazu said the gangs were trying to reverse this process of intervention. At least 2 other inmates were injured, officials said. Honduran prisons house more than 20,000 inmates, despite only having the capacity for about 8,000. Fights are common as rival street gangs vie for control. And finally, in our international news segment, Justin Bieber has given fans an early Christmas present, confirming he is to make a 2020 comeback. The Canadian pop star chose December 24th to announce he will release a new single called Yummy on January 3rd. The 25-year-old also revealed he is to tour the U.S. and his home nation, which begins in Seattle, Washington on May 14th and concludes in East Rutherford, New Jersey on September 26th. The singer announced as well he is to appear in a new documentary TV series. Bieber took an extended break from music in 2017 after canceling the last 14 dates of his proposed world tour. Yet this year saw him appear in a guest vocalist on Ed Sheeran's I Don't Care and a remix of Billie Eilish's Bad Guy. This, together with an appearance with Ariana Grande at Coachella in April, led to speculation that he might be about to return with new solo material. Bieber shot to fame as a teenager after impressing manager Soccer Braun with his cover versions online. Throughout his career, the star has amassed more than 50 billion streams and shifted more than 60 million album equivalents worldwide. That is the international news. Sports is up next.
Are your living spaces ready to host friends and family for the holidays? Not quite. Spin and win big this Christmas with TDC Hire Purchase. Win up to 35% off furniture, appliances, and electronics when you shop at the TDC Home and Building Depots on Hire Purchase.
We're here!
Wow, honey, your home looks amazing. Thanks, Mom. TDC is Christmas. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, and now into sports. In athletics, Jamaican sprint star Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce will also run the 200-meter when she defends her Olympic 100-meter title in Tokyo next year. It is set to be the final Olympics for Fraser-Pryce, who made 33 today. "I will be doubling up definitely," she was quoted as saying in Kingston by website Inside the Games. "Last year, I really wanted to attempt the double, but my coach had other plans, so I just worked with that plan. He knows best." Fraser-Pryce's Olympic best at 200 meter was a silver medal at London 2012, although she did triumph at that distance in this year's Pan American Games. Her main rivals in the 200 meter in Tokyo will include Britain's Dina Asher-Smith, who is fresh from winning gold at that distance in the recent World Champions in Doha, but took 100 meters silver behind Fraser-Pryce at the same championships. In cricket, Deandra Doughton has been named with 20 other players by Cricket West Indies selection panel for a pre-World Cup camp from January 6th to the 25th, 2020 in Antigua to finalize their preparations for the ICC Women's T20 World Cup. Deandra returns to West Indies women's duty after shoulder surgery and a lengthy rehabilitation period, which ensured her full recovery and availability for the team. Captain Stephan Taylor was missed at T20's International Series against visiting Indians women team in November, will also be returning along with bowlers Shamila Connell and Shakira Silman. During the pre-World Cup camp, the final squad for the ICC Women's T20 World Cup will be selected before departure to Australia. The ICC Women's T20 World Cup will take place between February 21st and March 8th. In basketball, the scores from last evening's matches are as follows. Pistons 132, Wizards 102, Knicks 94, Nets 82, Grizzlies 110, Thunder 97, Mavericks 102, Spurs 98, Timberwolves 105, Kings 104, Jazz 121, Trailblazers 115. In more cricket, Travis Head hit a century and Australia took two late to New Zealand wickets as hosts continued to dominate the second test on day 2 in Melbourne. Australia resumed on a 257 for 4, and after Steve Smith fell for 85, Head and Tim Payne 97 put on 150. Head made 114. He was one of 4 wickets for Neil Wagner as Australia lost their 5 wickets for 33 to finish on 467. The tourists lost Tom Bunell and Kane Williamson to close on 44 for 2. James Pattinson picked up his first test wicket in Australia in 4 years in removing Captain Williamson, who was caught by the wicket-keeper Payne for 9 after he skid in an attempt to pull shot. The scores were Australia 467 all out, New Zealand 44 for 2. In more cricket, Pakistan all-rounder Mohammad Hafiz has been banned from bowling in English domestic competitions because of an illegal action. He was reported by the umpires after a T20 blast match between Middlesex and Somerset in Tonston in August. The suspension was imposed following a bowling review group hearing at Lord's. The 39-year-old off-spinner played 4 T20 games for Middlesex last summer, taking 2 wickets and hitting 115 runs with the highest score of 48. Despite identifying procedural testing flaws, which have been accepted by the review committee, as well as realizing the findings will potentially affect my reputation as a world-proven all-rounder, I accept the bowling review group's findings, Hafez said in a statement published on Middlesex's website. And finally in sports, in football, Liverpool tightened their grip on Premier League title race even further as they overpowered nearest challengers Leicester City 4-0 at the King's Power Stadium on Thursday to extend their lead to an imposing 13 points. Jurgen Klopp's side started to match 10 points clear of the Foxes with a game in hand, then producing a performance of stature and dominance. It is most impossible to see how they will not claim their first title in 30 years. That's it for sports. The latest weather report is up next. The weather tonight, mostly cloudy skies with a 40% or moderate chance of brief light showers. The weather tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies with a 70% or high chance of mixed showers with light rain. Showers mixed with light rain. Winds east to southeast at 6 to 15 kilometers per hour or 3 to 8 knots, becoming variable or calm at times. The seas 1.1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet tonight into early tomorrow. An increase in northerly swells up to 6 feet or 1.8 meters is anticipated by tomorrow afternoon, for which a high surf advisory may become necessary by that time. The sunrise tomorrow is at 6:38 a.m. The sunset tomorrow is at 5:45 p.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Friday, 27th December 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, no major crimes recorded in Juve Jam session in St. Kitts, as over 10,000 persons reveled. And the recent implementation of port entrance fee was a very good idea, says operation manager at the Charlestown Pier. Regionally, 4 murders push 2019 murder toll for TNT to 522. Internationally, Beck airplane comes down near Almaty Airport, Kazakhstan. And in sports, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce plans Tokyo Olympics 100-meter and 200-meter sprint double. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Daniel Moore, wishing you a pleasant evening.